Today we did some submissions from Side Control. It was actually similar to what I've been working with Tim privately. So it was the paper cutter from Side Control. So I did it from north-south. I didn't realize you can do it directly from Side Control, but I guess it's kind of obvious that you would be able to. And then also baseball bat with the lapel. So those two I'm pretty familiar with. One detail is on the paper cutter, getting your hips lower on the ground. Baseball bat, I feel a little like I'm giving up some weight or control after I get the grip and before I pivot. I think I need to get lower somehow, maybe. Have to figure that out. Or maybe, maybe that's just in my head. But if I try it out more, then I'll see if I'm actually losing control while I'm pivoting. And then the third one, we learned the third one, which is pretty neat, is so once we get knee on belly while we're doing baseball bat, they push on the knee and they expose, they push on the knee and they get up on the side. So this exposes the underhook. Let's see, the far side underhook, yeah. So you get that underhook, and then you take your free hand, so the other hand that doesn't have the underhook, and you push on his neck and step over into a knee pinch. So now you're in a knee pinch with I guess like the front side arm through. So in order to maintain control and not lose the underhook, you want to do an S grip with your two hands and then bring the other hand through. So you're creating like a loop with your hand, with your arms, and you're going from one arm that has the underhook, and you want to bring the other arm. So you want to have your other arm go from his back side to his front side through that arm. So he'll probably be gripping his own S grip with his hands or holding onto his lapel because he's afraid of an arm bar. So he has like a circle going with that arm. So you're basically taking your arm from you're taking one arm that's deep, and then you're bringing the other arm that's deep. You're replacing one arm with the other. And you want to go from his backside to his front side. So that's the arm that you want, and you want that really deep as possible. And then once that's through, you string out that arm so it's running along his body. So you're in a knee pinch, so once you straighten out, your elbow is like on his chest and your wrist is like on his waist, or more or less in that direction, and more or less that spot. So that kind of locks his arm in a pretty uncomfortable position. So then you take your other hand and you take his lapel on that side, you bring it under both your wrists, and then you feed it into the hand that's pinning his arm. And you want to keep that arm with your thumb up because it's stronger. So now you have a lot of control over him. The lapel kind of locks in his bottom arm, his upper arm is locked in by your arm, so that one arm has control over both of his arms. Unless he's a lot bigger than you, he's kind of stuck there. So now you can take your free arm and grab the opposite collar and come down and do a paper cutter from there. So that's if you can flatten him out. So if you can flatten him out, that's what you do. If you cannot flatten him out, then you go for the back, and that is, you kind of pull him up using the arm that has all the control. You need to bring your knees to one side of his head. So I think it's to the front side? No, it's gotta be to the back side. So you bring the knee that's in front of his face kind of behind his head, and then you step over with the foot that's on the back, on his back. You step that over to in front of his waist, and from there you can pull him down, insert the other hook, and then you're in back control. So those are the 3 techniques. I tried out in rolls. I got the knee pinch on Sean. Sean's like, I don't know, 70 pounds heavier than me and 3 times as strong as me. So I got the control on him, and then he just ripped out of it. But it was pretty tight. It was when I tried to go to paper cutter that he ripped out. So I don't know what would happen if I went for the back instead. Anyway, then I did a private with Tim. Let's see. Alright, so we did recovering from turtle. So he calls it tight waist control or something. So when you're in turtle, you don't want to, if the other guy doesn't have this tight waist control, then you can spin out of turtle and face him. You can recover your guard. So that's the number 1 goal, is to remove the tight waist control. So what you want to do is you want to spin in the opposite direction then. But you can't, it's very hard to just spin in that direction because he has control over you. So you kind of want to force him into turning you that way. So if you're in turtle and he's on one side, you want to post on the opposite side. Right, so that immediately cuts out half of his options, and his best option is to pull you toward him. Right, so, but when he has the tight waist control, he needs to be gripping your far side. It's like he's hugging you with his arm around your back. That's what the tight waist control is. So he's on one side and his arm is around your back, gripping the other hip. So if I am posting on the side that the hand on the hip is, then his only remaining option is to pull me in the opposite direction. He can't squish me in that direction because I have all my force in that direction. So I'm forcing him into what I want him to do, right? Which is not, that move isn't bad for him. So he pulls me in, and then what he would need to do is switch arms. because I would be on his opposite side now. So when he pulls me, I go with him, and I spin inside of him faster than he spins. So I'm rotating inside of him. He needs to rotate more. Because I'm inside of him, he needs to rotate more than me. So I have the advantage in that respect. Yeah. So and I know that I'm doing this, right? This is what I'm. I know that he's limited this option, so I can do it faster than him. I have less to move, so it's all sort of to my advantage. So as I'm spinning, I can spin inside of him, and then he should also expose an underhook, and then I can come up and wrestle up and knee tap and pass his guard that way. But the key thing is that I am forcing him into a move where I know exactly what he's going to do, and so I'm able to anticipate, and I have advantage in how much I need to move versus how much he has to move. So second, what if he doesn't, after I post out, what if he doesn't try to sit me back? So in this case, I trap his arm, and I do it's called a fat man or spring roll. And then I wind up in side control. And then third is, what if while we're rolling, he doesn't roll me all the way through, he only rolls me to where we're both sitting down. And in this case, I trap his head between my head and my arm, and then flip around I flip around and get to side control. It's a little hard to explain. Let's see. Then I did a little roll with the guy that's helping us out. So he saw that I basically have no open guard, so we worked on open guard. We worked on getting into butterfly. I didn't really understand that you could get into butterfly from when he's standing and we're sitting. So we worked on how to do that and how to transition to Del Hiva from there. But this is something I had noticed before. I actually really wanted to ask him about this. I was going to do turtle today and then this next week. So just having, you can't just play defense. There's no such thing as just play defense, right? I think my understanding, when we first started is that, frames are defense. But frames need to respond to what they're doing, and also frames are like trying to catch someone who's falling with a ladder, right? If they're in the right spot, then they can climb down, but you can't just carry the ladder from place to place, chase him around with the ladder so he can climb down. Maybe this is a terrible metaphor, but so you need to, I can't have my frames just be when whatever guard attack, whatever pass he's doing, I'm just gonna set up a frame to stop him. That's just not gonna work. I need to set up a guard. I need to get into a guard in order to really play defense. Because otherwise he's just doing things and I'm just reacting to him. And sooner or later, I'm gonna mess up or he's just gonna pass me. So I need to get into a guard from when we have separation. So just understand that. And right now, I'm most comfortable in the half guard position. So whenever like there's separation, I'm like naturally just welcoming into half guard, which isn't great. It's like more of a last ditch kind of thing. So yeah. Yeah, so I need to work on my guard. Just figuring out which guard I'm most comfortable with, and working on getting into that. So right now I'm just like throwing a leg out, trying to grab a hook, and getting into like half guard, and then I'm in a really bad half guard. So just how do I get into a guard that I'm comfortable with, and then allows me to kind of play offensively and not chase them around.